Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican Queen, Miss Y, and this is Y'all I'm Watching This. Please remember to like this video, share the link to my channel if you feel like the content needs some more crowd, subscribe if you have not done so as yet, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, now called X, at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. So, y'all, I'm watching the conversation on social media surrounding season 9 of Selling Sunset. It's a Netflix series surrounding the Hoppenheim group and the agents that work at that brokerage. And since last season, I have really been zoning in on the microaggressive behavior that is present on that show or at that brokerage. I have been pointing out the favoritism and how problematic it is that one of the owners of this brokerage, Jason Hoppenheim, continues to date so many agents from his company. I keep saying Jason is the problem. Jason dated Mary, who was once an agent, now turned the office manager. What she's managing at that office, I don't know, because there's so many discord, there's so much feuding happening, and she has not done much to solve any of the interpersonal relationship issues that is going on amongst the agents of the Oppenheim group. Honestly, I don't know why these women are fighting so much, because as agents, they really don't have to engage with each other outside of work. I get that for a reality TV show, they have to film together and all that jazz. But still, even as it relates to the reality TV show of it all, Mary does nothing. She does nothing to mediate, and I barely see her managing anything in that office. Jason at one point also dated Nicole, who he ended up firing this season because she said something very savage in clapping back at Chrishell, who was attacking her. And ding, 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 yes, Jason also dated Chrishell. Word on the street is that allegedly Chrishell and Jason were having an affair, and that is why Chrishell's now ex-husband, at the time when Chrishell joined the show, filed for divorce out of the blue. Again, this is allegedly. I'm just repeating the rumors that are out there on social media. Jason and Chrishell, they dated for about 2 years, I think, or 1.5 years, who knows. And they ended up breaking up, and Chrishell is now in a lesbian relationship. I think she's married to the girl, but Chrishell and Jason ended up ended up breaking up because Jason does not want children and Chrishell wants kids. But when Jason and Chrishell began dating, Chrishell started to move within the Oppenheim group like she was queen of the castle, like she ran the girls. And everybody, because Chrishell was now Jason's new favorite or Jason's new thing, in my opinion, because Jason and Chrishell was dating, everybody in all the agents in the Hoppenheim group, with the exception of maybe Christine and Nicole, started to kind of kiss Chrishell's behind. And I started to clock it. That when Nicole called out the fact that Chrishell just walked into the Hoppenheim group and was just getting these high end listings after she was previously only selling condos in the valley, and that's all just weird, and that Chriselle got credit for a listing that was actually Nicole's. I said, oh, Jason is the problem. Jason is one of the executive producers of the Selling Sunset series, and he feeds into the mess and the feuding between the women. We also have to call out the microaggressive behavior that has been present on the show since Chelsea joined. And why I believe the rumor that Jason and Chriselle were having an affair is because when Chriselle walked into the Oppenheim group selling condos in the valley, Jason was already smitten with her and he was ready to hire her on the spot. But here comes this dark skinned, beautiful woman from England of Nigerian descent, the only black woman in the Oppenheim group. And yes, I said the only black woman because Amanza, I don't know. I don't know what she gives. She says that she's of African American descent, but I don't know, because she should be calling out Mary's behavior towards Chelsea, and she should be calling out Jason's behavior towards Chelsea, and she's not doing that. But as they say, not all skin folk is kinfolk. But as I was saying, the microaggressive behavior towards Chelsea, when she came in to the Oppenheim group with several sales under her belt, she still had to quote unquote audition by proving that she could sell a high end property that one of the other women, a white woman who was already an agent at this group, was unable to sell. Chelsea came in. She did the audition, I guess. She sold the property, sold it for 30K over the asking price. The person wanted to buy it all cash and wanted to close within 2 weeks. And even when she said to Jason, I have a buyer, it's 30K over the asking, he's ready to pay cash, he wants to close within 2 weeks, Jason still turned to the other girl and was like, oh, I thought you said that you had somebody interested in buying the property, knowing fully well that that girl wasn't able to sell that property for how many months. He was trying to find a reason to not hire Chelsea. And so we see the behavior has continued, because watching Selling Sunset from season 1 to when they transitioned into season 2 and season 3, how they dressed in season 1 compared to how they dressed in season 2 and season 3 is a stark difference, right? Season 2, season 3, season 4, everybody was showing titties. Everybody. People were showing up to openings and other professional engagements in, see-through lingerie tops with a blazer over it, or literally a blazer, no bra on, their boobies showing. But Chelsea gets reprimanded in front of her boss or bosses for wearing a skirt that it was a little bit too short. But the problem in Mary being the office manager and at Chelsea's opening in front of potential buyers in the open, talking to Jason and Brett about how Chelsea, his dress for the opening is just inappropriate and maybe they should do something about it. Baby, Mary, you are the office manager. So if you felt that Chelsea's attire was just so inappropriate, you should have taken Chelsea to the side, not go to your two male bosses, one of them your ex-boyfriend, to complain about how Chelsea is dressed and telling them that they need to say something to her. And then the word choice that Jason used, problematic, telling this black woman that she needs to tone it down a little. You ain't never told those other white women that they need to put their boobs away. But because Chelsea is a big booty black girl in her short skirt, Chelsea was covered up at the top. Again, two things can be right. The skirt was a little bit too short. Culturally, because I'm Jamaican, I probably would not have worn that to an open house as a realtor if I was a realtor. But as I said, for several episodes before Chelsea even got on that show, these women were not dressing appropriately or behaving appropriately at these professional engagements. So why was Chelsea the only one being called out? And then when Chelsea tells Mary that what she did was not okay, you had Mary's husband, who does not work for the Hoppenheim group, confronting Chelsea about a work situation. And then Mary's mad that Chelsea's defending herself because, one, you berated her in front of her bosses, and then your husband is coming for her as well in the name of defending his wife. And then we get to this season of Selling Sunset, and the microaggressive behavior still continues. It still continues because Jason can gift Mary two Rolex watches on camera. He can say on camera, hey, I will pay for yours and your husband's therapy. But Chelsea, being a decent human being, sending some flowers to Mary is problematic, simply because she called Mary out last season for berating her in front of Jason and Brett about how she dresses. That's what makes Chelsea enemy number one? That's crazy. And I heard a content creator say this, and I wish that I had clocked it. I don't know why, but it's absolutely true. When Mary read the card and saw who the flowers were from, she didn't have to say that it was from Chelsea on camera. No one to this day would have known that Chelsea was the one to send those flowers to Mary had Mary not decided that she was going to be a Karen and go off on the production team because she felt that Chelsea knew that she was filming, and that is why the flowers were sent on camera. And the producers were saying, Chelsea didn't know that we were filming. We had no idea that she was sending you flowers. It's just a mere coincidence. And then after Mary fuming about, oh, Chelsea did it for camera time. Chelsea did it for camera time. You know what Mary did? Went to this staff dinner that I guess they have to have for the sake of having a scene. She went to that dinner and decided that she was going to call Chelsea out for being fake. Once again, in front of Brett and Jason, who are the owners of the whole group, meaning that they are everybody's boss. And then when Chelsea decides that she's going to clap back and defend herself and defend her character. Now it's turn these cameras off. No, I think not, Jason. As Chelsea said, y'all got y'all's content when she was berating me and calling me fake and coming for my character after I was just trying to do something nice because allegedly her house was broken into and all these family heirlooms and whatnot, were taken. And I just wanted to be a decent person and say, hey, we're not cool, but we work together. And I just wanted you to know that while you're going through this difficult time, I'm sorry that you're going through this. That's it. That's all. And let me go back real quick to it being an issue for people to give gifts on camera, because please recall that Chrishell, when Mary suffered a miscarriage, Chrishell showed up to Mary's house with a whole basket of goodies just to say, I'm sorry that you're going through this. I'm sorry that you had a miscarriage. And that was filmed. Chrishell showed up on camera to Mary's house with the basket, and that wasn't a problem. See, this is why people are calling out the microaggressive behavior. This is why. For examples like that. Because here is another instance of Mary being okay when the white people do it, but it's a problem when Chelsea does it. And yes, I get the nuance in that Chelsea and Mary are not friends. But the reality is the reason Mary and Chelsea are feuding is because of the negative behavior that Mary portrayed towards Chelsea, not the other way around. So Chelsea would have been well within her right not to send flowers and not to care, because the offense is towards her. So for Mary to be out here acting as if the reason her and Chelsea are at odds is because of something Chelsea did to her, that's the Karen behavior that I'm talking about. And let me add, Amanza, even though her and Mary are friends, Amanza also showed up on camera with gifts to Mary's house when she had her miscarriage. All these people that I mentioned showed up on camera to this lady's house with gifts in hand. They made sure their face was on camera in the scene, giving Mary these gifts to tell her sorry for your miscarriage. But Chelsea sends the flowers by themselves with a card. She's nowhere in the scene, and somehow Chelsea did it for camera time. I know I sound repetitive, but I just want the points to hit home. Okay? And let me add some more of the microaggressive behaviors that has been meted out to Chelsea. Bree has shown Chelsea the most anger and the most vitriol for speaking on her family dynamic with Nick Cannon and all the babies he's out here having, and Bree being just one of his other baby mamas. Chelsea wasn't the only one to speak on it. In fact, Chelsea wasn't even the first one to speak on it. All the white women gave their opinion, talked behind Bree's back, spoke in front of her face, but the only person she had all this smoke for was Chelsea. And let me remind y'all, or let me tell some of y'all who probably don't watch the show, Chelsea was actually the only one from the old group who was speaking on the Nick Cannon and the baby mamas and the Bree Shiesty of it all. Chelsea was the only one to apologize to Brie for speaking on a situation that was none of her business. But yet, Brie just has all this smoke for Chelsea to the point where, as she is throwing out the flowers that Chelsea nicely sent to Mary, Brie refers to Chelsea as trash. Brie has beef with other women, or is feuding with other women in the old group. She and Emma aren't friends anymore. Her and Chrishell aren't friends anymore. Chrishell is out here calling Brie basically a bigot. I don't know if I can even say that on YouTube. But Chrishell is out here calling Brie out, and Brie isn't referring to any of these white women as trash, but the only black woman in the Oppenheim group is trash. And Mary this season also referred to Chelsea as it. As it. Come on now. The hypocrisy, the double standards, the favoritism, the microaggressive behavior, the racist behavior that is present on the show is wild to me. This will probably be my last season watching Selling Sunset, because Mary running off to meet up with Jason and talking about how she might have to leave the Oppenheim group because she's just so tired of all the drama and all the personal attacks. I think the people in HR, which the Oppenheim group needs a HR department, the people in HR would probably be out here trying to avoid a lawsuit in real life, because if Chelsea is fired for standing up for herself, would that not be called retaliation? I still stand by the fact that Nicole should not have been fired. She didn't start it. Word on the street is, because Nicole used to date Jason, Nicole is friends with Jason's first cousin. And that is where Nicole got the information from that Emma was having an affair with this married man. I think the man was either married to Jason's cousin's friend or was married to Jason's cousin. So Nicole didn't just grab that out of thin air. And Nicole being upset that on the show, Chrishell was being credited for selling a home that Nicole was actually the listing agent on, and that Nicole was actually the one who sold that property. She wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong for saying, I feel like that was happening because you're sleeping with the boss. And because Nicole called out Emma for allegedly having an affair with this married man, and because Emma was standing up for herself in the workplace, because on paper, in real life, she's doing the work, but to put on a show, other people are getting the credit for her work, Chrishell says, oh, you're crazy. You're doing cocaine. And Chrishell has continued that narrative into this season. Nicole is at the table and she's being ganged upon by everybody sitting there, including her friend, quote unquote, so-called friend, Ananza, who's telling her to shut the F up while not telling Chrishell to do the same, or telling Emma to do the same. So you're at a table where there are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other women ganging up on you, and you're fighting the battle by yourself, and you tell this girl, I'm talking about Nicole, tells Chrishell after Chrishell keeps saying, "Oh, you overdosed on the white stuff. You overdosed on the white stuff." And Nicole looks at her and says, "You are mistaking me for your parents," who Chrishell has publicly already told us used to be addicts. And yes, it's unfortunate that they have both passed away, but it was also unfortunate that you had that sickness in your family, Chrishell, where you had two parents who were addicts, and you want to, even if Nicole OD'd at some point in her life, one would think that you would be a little bit kinder and a little bit more sensitive about throwing that out there on national TV. And now Nicole is the one that is fired for saying, "Girl, you're mistaking me for your parents." How about Chrishell being reprimanded for continuously saying those defamatory statements? How about that too? Where is Chrishell's reprimand? Which is why I've pointed out that the favoritism on Selling Sunset within the Oppenheim group, whether it's just for the show or whether it's in real life too, is very, very blatant. So please stay tuned, y'all, for a part 2 to this video. This video is already 30 minutes long. I was not trying to have it be this long. I wanted to include those clips that I found on TikTok in this video, but I went off ranting and now we're at 30 minutes. So please turn your notifications on so that you can watch or listen to part 2 of my take on Selling Sunset. Until then, please remember to drop down in the comment section below and let me know how you see things too. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, now called X, at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. Until my next video or my next live stream, walk good. Bye.